Some tragedies defy logic. An enormous airplane vanishes from the sky. No distress call. No confirmed wreckage. No definitive answers. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 took off from Kuala Lumpur, bound for Beijing. It never arrived. And what followed was not only one of the greatest aviation mysteries of all time, but a spawning ground for theories ranging from the eerie to the unbelievable. Governments scrambled, satellites searched, and the world watched in collective disbelief as a modern Boeing 777-200 seemingly disappeared into thin air. Welcome to the Unknown Archive. Today, we venture into the tangled enigma of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. A story of confusion, cover-ups, conflicting data, and the creeping suspicion that perhaps someone somewhere knows more than they're willing to admit. Fasten your seatbelt, because this journey only gets darker the deeper we go. The flight that vanished. At 12:41 a.m. local time, MH370 took off without incident. 239 people were on board. Passengers from 14 countries, including China, Malaysia, Australia, and the United States. Less than an hour later, as the plane approached the edge of Malaysian airspace, it gave its final verbal transmission. "Good night, Malaysian 370, and then silence. Air traffic controllers in Vietnam never heard from the plane. Secondary radar lost it. The plane simply vanished off civilian screens at 1:21 a.m. But military radar later revealed a shocking twist. The aircraft had made a sudden turn westward, completely off course. It flew across the Malay Peninsula, then out into the vast Indian Ocean. Why? And who was in control? The official timeline holds and haze. In the days following the disappearance, conflicting statements from Malaysian officials fueled chaos. First, they claimed contact was lost over the South China Sea. Then came the admission. Military radar had tracked the plane long after it vanished from civilian systems. Inmarsat satellite data later showed that the aircraft continued to send hourly handshakes for nearly 7 hours after disappearing. This meant MH370 didn't crash near its last known location. It had flown thousands of kilometers off course. The final satellite arc, based on pings, placed the aircraft somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean. But this arc was over a vast, desolate stretch of ocean with no land, no signals, and no debris. Initially, it was like looking for a needle in a haystack. In the dark, underwater, theories take flight. With no mayday call, no hijacker claims, and no wreckage for months, conspiracy theories bloomed like algae in stagnation. Here are some of the most persistent and chilling ideas. 1. The pilot did it. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah was experienced, calm, and by all accounts professional. But some investigators zeroed in on him as a person of interest. He had a home flight simulator, and one of the flight paths he simulated eerily mirrored MH370's final suspected route into the southern Indian Ocean. Was it a suicide mission? A political statement? Or was he coerced? The problem? No suicide note. No clear motive. And those who knew Zahari found it hard to believe. 2. Hijacking, but by whom? Was the aircraft taken over? Some believe it was a high-tech hijacking, possibly involving onboard systems like the Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System, ACARS, which stopped transmitting early in the flight. Could someone have infiltrated the cockpit, disabled systems, and flown the plane manually into the ocean or elsewhere? Others suggested a cyber-hijacking, remote control from the ground, hacking into the plane's avionics. Is this sci-fi or hidden tech? 3. The Diego Garcia theory. One of the most enduring claims is that the plane was diverted to Diego Garcia, a top-secret U.S. military base in the Indian Ocean. Proponents say the base had the tech to intercept, jam, or even shoot down the plane. But why? Was there a high-value target on board? Was it an accidental shoot-down like Iran Air Flight 655? The U.S. government denies this entirely. But skeptics point out the secrecy surrounding Diego Garcia's operations and the curiously little information ever released from that area. 4. Lithium batteries or black ops. Some claim the cargo hold contained lithium-ion batteries that could have sparked a fire, disabling systems and suffocating passengers before the plane flew on autopilot into the sea. But others say the cargo included something else, sensitive technology bound for China. Could intelligence agencies have intervened to prevent its delivery? The truth might be hidden within a manifest that's never been fully explained. 5. Shot down? Could MH370 have been mistaken for a hostile aircraft and shot down by a military force? A chilling idea, especially after the 2014 downing of MH17 over Ukraine. The theory goes, once downed, the incident was covered up to avoid political fallout. But again, no compelling radar or satellite evidence confirms such an event. Clues or red herrings? In July 2015, a flaperon, a part of the wing, washed up on Réunion Island. More debris followed in places like Madagascar and Mozambique. All were believed to be consistent with a Boeing 777, and some even bore serial numbers matching MH370. But conspiracy theorists weren't convinced, suggesting the parts could have been planted or that the ocean drift modeling didn't add up. Adding to the mystery were reports of calls to passengers' phones that rang but went unanswered, or strange messages supposedly received by loved ones. And then, there's the unsettling claim that certain military radar data or satellite images were never released in full. The search that never ends. Between 2014 and 2018, the search spanned over 120,000 square kilometers of ocean floor. Australia, Malaysia, and China led the effort but came up empty. A private company, Ocean Infinity, tried again in 2018 with cutting-edge underwater drones, but still found nothing. Each failed expedition made the world ask, how could a plane this large just vanish in the age of GPS, surveillance satellites, and constant connectivity? The shadow of silence. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of MH370 isn't what we know, but what we don't. Silence from governments, inconsistencies in radar data, missing logs, shifting narratives. Every unanswered question fans the flames of doubt. Is it possible the truth is too politically or militarily sensitive to release? Or are we simply staring into the void of human fallibility, grasping for meaning in the face of chaos? Final thoughts. Lost or hidden? Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 reminds us that even in a world drenched in data, the truth can remain maddeningly out of reach. It's a story of science and secrecy, tragedy and theory. Some say the answers lie deep beneath the ocean. Others believe they lie in vaults of classified data, locked away forever. What's certain is that 239 souls disappeared that night. And until we know why, the speculation will never stop. So what do you believe? Was MH370 lost to the sea or buried beneath a mountain of lies? Join the discussion and remember, in the unknown archive, nothing is ever as it